You're tuned in to IntellectualRadio-Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the Women of Wealth show on IntellectualRadio.com. I have a special guest tonight. We got a little youngin' in the house. I done saw him grow up. Very, very intelligent, outgoing young man. Right now, something that's very near and dear to my heart, and that is mental health. Something we do not talk about, especially somebody that look like us. We don't discuss it. We put it off to everything else. When we were younger, we were told, go pray. If we said we feeling anxiety or stress, we was told, go somewhere and sit down. But we are never really talk about it. It's never discussed. Right now, it's rampant in every community. It makes it worse in ours because it's not discussed. It's not taken serious. So I have a little youngin' here today. He's going to explain to me some of the things if he think, what should we be doing? And my biggest question is, normally when I talk about anxiety and stress and mental health and PTSD, I talk about it with women.
Right.
Men really don't open up about their mental health. They really feel like you don't know really kind of how to approach them.
Right.
So right now, I think you would be a good advocate and a good person right now to tell me within your age range, what do we need to do and how can we help?
I definitely agree with everything you said, and I kind of was taking notes on my way here, just about mental health in general. So like when I was growing up, like I knew that I felt a different type of way. And like I knew like I had anxiety, but I didn't know that that's what it was called. And like anytime that I tried to express those things, whether it was like to my parents or to the church, it was always just pray. But it wasn't until probably about a couple of years ago, like when the pandemic first started, where it started to like really like mess with me. So I started going to therapy and, meditating. Recently, I started doing yoga and just different things just to help with my mental health. But I think when it comes to men are taught from a very young age, like, don't cry, don't show emotions, be a man, don't be a little girl. And like those things develop, I don't want to say trauma, but it develops, it makes a man feel a type of way. And like, as you get older, you find different ways to cope with whatever that you're feeling. And a lot of times it's not the most healthiest things that we choose to deal with that.
Okay, because I want to go back a little bit. I heard you mention some things that I want to touch.
Okay.
So before, I'm going to make sure everybody have this number, 708-223-8953 if you want to call in. What are the things is you said? How can I ask you your age?
I'm 31.
Okay, you're 31. So growing up, you were told, go sit down, don't cry, don't be no girl, figure it out. All right. So name some of the things you did. And after you name them, kind of break it down to me. So you say you start going to therapy.
Yeah, I mean, but those are things like the last couple of years. So, but yeah, going to therapy, going to the gym, meditating. I started a podcast myself, and like that kind of helps with. It's kind of like therapy for me in a certain type of way because I'm able to just get my thoughts off as raw as they are. But those are mostly the main things that I've introduced to my life and even introduced to my kids as well, as far as, them dealing with themselves and growing up.
Okay. So when did you realize what hit in your life? Because it's a lot of people your age and your age group. They feel like I'm just going to self-medicate. I'm just going to go smoke some weed. I'm going to roll me a blunt and that's going to be okay. I'm going to pop me a pill. What are you doing in your life different that made you say, I'm going to try therapy instead?
First, I did all those things. Like I used to use this app, and that's like how I first got introduced to meditation. That was the first thing. Like I was going through a lot with my kids, with different relationships, even with, my parents and different things. And meditation was like something that I would do every day, and I really enjoyed it. And then like at the beginning of the pandemic, I think a lot of us was dealing with mental health because it's like the first time, like normally we in the office or you at your job or we able to go out to the club. And this was like the first time that we was able to just be with ourselves and like be with our thoughts. And was some of the hardest things, to really get accustomed to. So I had a period where I kind of like had a mental breakdown, and like it was just a lot. Like I had my kids every day; they was out of school. I'm trying to deal with my career. Also, I'm trying to figure out what's next and relationships and different things. And my job, they offer, therapy. So I went through our group, and then I started doing therapy about 2 years ago, and that was probably one of the best decisions that I made.
That you could have made. How did you know that you were going through? Because you used the word mental breakdown. What happened to make you realize that you hit your wall, that you hit bottom, that I'm there now?
I was just I was waking up and not feeling motivated to do anything, not to deal with my kids, not to work. I was getting high, drinking, and it just like I knew something was off. And yeah, I don't know the specific moment, but I just knew something was off, and I was like, I need to figure something out. And with me, with my job, like since that's something that I offer, I'm in management, so I offer that to my agents all the time. But I never took advantage of it. I'm like, if you're dealing with something, this is something that we offer. But something was just like, yo, check it out. And I filled out for the information. They connected me with a therapist, and we've been meeting every week since.
Okay. So right now, once again, your age range. Oh, I don't know what to say about your age range. So right now, my daughter's around that same age. What are you telling others your age or younger to actually push them instead of always maybe saying, well, I'm just gonna pop a pill, man. I'm just gonna go get high. What are you saying to help somebody else out?
I mean, so on my platform, I talk a lot about mental health, and it's not like I'm not no expert or anything, but all I can do is just tell my story, and maybe that'll be something that'll help somebody. So I tell the things that I'm into. So as far as like going to the gym or just talking about my raw feelings. So if this week I wasn't as motivated, or I felt depressed, or I was down about something, I talk about it. If this week I had a good week, like I started doing yoga every morning for like the last couple of weeks, and that's something that I really enjoy. So I talk about those things, and then I offer that to people that listen to it. And I get a lot of people that hop in my DM, and they tell me like, yo, I was dealing with the same thing, like all this time, like I felt these ways as kids, and I never could put a word on it. And I get that on a weekly basis. So
Far
it's
as what? What do you get from people your age? How can we help your age range? Say, okay, how can I help you?
I think just creating an avenue where people feel okay to talk about whatever it is they're going through. And having a safe environment where people can be themselves, and they can say like, yo, I ain't got it all this week, or I'm not feeling this way, and not feel like they being judged.
How can we create that? Because right now all we create is rap music. Right now we talking about the baby and his baby mama and his other baby mama, his side chick. Right now that's glorified. Where is it a platform for us to be able to make it comfortable for somebody to say, I'm not okay today?
I think with what you're doing and what I'm doing right now,
Mm-hmm.
just on an individual level, like, the people that may listen to this may be able to relate,
Mm-hmm.
and it may start a trickle down effect to where, they'll get more in tune with their mental health, and they'll, check out and see, what actually makes them happy, or what can help with whatever it is that they're dealing with. So I think just on the individual level, people just start to have more of a conversation. If you have some things that work for you, sharing that information and putting it out there, and then, if somebody is dealing with it, they just take heed to it.
Okay, so you mentioned you do yoga. Where do you do yoga? What time? What do you do
I
to actually take that anxiety and that stress off yourself?
I do yoga every morning, and I do it from YouTube. Like there's this guy, his name is, I think is the yoga dude, and he has these videos, and some of them is like 5 minutes, some of them is like 16 minutes, some of them is longer. But I literally turn on YouTube, I go to his page, I pull out my mat, and I'm trash at it. So I'm not the best at it, but every day that I continue to do it, I notice like, okay, like even this morning when I did it, like I wasn't the best at it, but I didn't quit it. I didn't quit today. And like other days, like I had to quit some poses and different things, but today I didn't quit. So that was a win.
Okay. All right. You also mentioned going to the gym.
Hmm.
So if you can't get to the yoga, you make sure you go to the gym.
I go to the gym too, but
Okay.
I don't. I start my day off with yoga. I don't go into the office without doing it. I don't leave my house without doing it. I don't walk my dog without doing it. Like I make sure that I start my day with that just to set the tone for the day.
So you make your day intentional.
Absolutely.
Because when you do have a lot of anxiety and stress, in which I've mentioned several times, I do have PTSD.
Hmm.
You know, if you can know if you wake up with it, you wake up feeling anxious, or you may wake up with racing thoughts, or you may wake up feeling like, oh my goodness, nervous feeling.
Absolutely.
So what you do is when you wake up, you make it intentional and you do yoga.
Yeah, it's yoga and make my bed. Like those are the two things.
Now I've heard the bed made, but I want you to say it. Why do you make your bed?
Because it makes you feel like you accomplished something before you get your day started.
Okay.
So before you go out into the world and you're dealing with your kids or you're dealing with the world or you're dealing with your job, like you already feel like that you've done something. And it feels good to come home and your bed is made.
Okay. All right. So one of the things to stop anxiety is to come home and not come home to chaos,
Hmm.
to come home to a bed and say, okay, all right. So right now we got the gym and we got yoga.
Hmm.
But I want to go back and ask one other question. What made you stop? So you were drinking, smoking, and popping?
I had a pill summer, but that was a while ago.
Okay.
But I do currently still drink and smoke, but it's not as excessive as it was.
Okay. All right. So you kind of need to kind of let people know that the pill popping and the excessive smoking does not help, because once you get up at that fog, it's still right there.
Yeah, I mean, with anything that you do, like a lot of people find different ways to just cope. So
Hmm.
it can be, dealing with a lot of men and women. It can be, trying to find love in a lot of different places. It can be, self harm. It can be anything. So, you know, what I advocate is it starting to put at least one healthy thing in your day. So like, I start my day, I have my yoga, I make my bed, I have my smoothie, and now, I'm set to go tackle whatever it is that, the world throws at me that day.
So you even start eating differently.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that affects. Do you feel like if you eat bad, that affects your mental health?
Yes. I 1000 agree because I mean anything that you put into your body, that isn't healthy, it can affect how you feel. So it's just not eating, even with like the things that we watch or the things that we hear, the things that you ingest, whether it's through your mouth, through your eyes, through your ears, those things can definitely play on, your mental health.
Okay. All right, because I listen to on my way to work, I listen to Eric Thomas to get motivated. Because every day you can't do it for you. Sometimes you be like, well, let me get up for my kids.
Absolutely.
Let me get up for my generation. Let me get up for something. But every time you can't get up for you, every day is not going to be a good day. It's
Absolutely.
okay to feel bad. Difference is just don't quit.
Absolutely. One of the things that I've learned is the difference between pain and suffering.
What's the difference?
So everybody's going to experience pain. That's a part of life. It ain't no way to get around that. A loved one may die, a relationship may fold, may get fired from a job. You're going to feel that pain. But the difference is not living in it. So like suffering is actually just living in that pain and letting that consume you. But one of the things I learned through therapy is feel your feels, but do not let it overtake you around your life.
Okay. So that's a good comment. That's a good actually thing to live by. Everybody goes through pain, but you don't have to suffer.
Absolutely.
All right. Go through it, acknowledge it, and continue to move on from it.
Yeah, yeah. Like a lot of people have, childhood trauma. A lot of
Okay.
people been through a lot of things that they may not talk about or that they still dealing with as an adult.
Okay.
And, as you get older and, you start to learn yourself more and just be open to new information,
Hmm.
is, feeling that pain, but also not letting it, destroy your life or take over your life.
Okay. So right now, everything you said it makes sense.
Mm.
So you say you do your yoga, getting up in the morning, you make your bed. So you became to make your day intentional. You made your not just your day, you've made your life intentional.
Yeah. And, it's not always the best day,
Hmm.
but I do set my mornings to be intentional. So I have certain things that I do, just to set the day. Now, however that day go, every day I may not deal with everything the best, but the next day I'll figure it out.
Okay. Do you journal?
I don't journal, but my podcast is kind of like my journaling.
Okay. You
So
talk it out.
I talk it out. Yeah.
Okay. So let's just say I was on your show. How would you help me?
It would be just like all I can do is just kind of just tell you what I've been through and like the things that help me and just let you know like, yo, you're not alone.
Would you like to share what you've been through and how you got through it, where you did not stay stuck in the suffering stage?
I mean, that's I don't know if you got enough time for that. No, but I mean, I've been through a lot. Like, not having a father as a child was something that I thought that I dealt with a long time ago. But as I went through therapy, I realized that was things that I was still holding on to and hurt that I was still holding on to.
Okay, because I had a show last week about men raising daughters.
Mhm.
So, do you think that affected you not having being raised by one parent or not having that dad in your life?
It did. Well, I would say it was good and bad. And
Okay.
the reason why I say that is like the way I am with my kids, I'm that way intentional because I don't want them to ever feel like how I felt. I don't ever want them to go through, looking out the window, watching every car come past, like, oh, is that my daddy? Oh no, that ain't him. And like, dealing with that pain. And like even when I was a child, I was like, yo, I never make nobody feel that way. And that's why I'm very intentional about just being a parent and the time that I spend with my kids. So in that way, it was a good thing. But um, the emotional, the emotional things that you get from a father, I didn't have that.
Okay.
Like, somebody to take you to basketball games, somebody to, show you how to talk to girls, somebody to give you the basics of, these are qualities that we live by. These are morals that we live by. I didn't really have that. So as a kid, I went looking for that in a lot of different ways. And that took me on a journey through a lot.
Do you feel like your generation, a lot of them was missing the same thing? Do you feel like that's what's going on with the pandemic, far as violence in the city of Chicago and a lot of our boys in the city? Is that what they're missing?
Yeah, I think that in a bunch of everything. Like, I think a lot of the guys, most of them out here, they in pain and they don't know how to deal with that. And they probably didn't have nobody to, sit with them and let them know, how to handle your emotions or, how to handle whatever life throws at you. They probably didn't have that type of guy. So they see what's popping. So out here, like, with the rapping and everything, like it's cool to, talk about smoking on your ops and, actually doing drills and different things. But one of the things I think is that if you put those same kids that's doing all of those things and you put them in a different environment, the crime rate, everything would drop tremendously.
Okay. So when did you realize? Because it sounds like from where we from, that's called breaking a generational curse.
Hmm.
When did you realize that it was generationally for you and then you had to stop it?
I would say probably within the last, I would say when I had kids.
Now, were you just, how many kids do you have?
I have three. I have a set of twins and then I got a younger son.
Okay. Do you feel like you were just out there because you didn't have maybe a dad to say, hey, man, you stick with one woman, or you don't, you don't be out here dropping babies everywhere, or hey, what in your life to make you say, you know something, I'm going to stop myself and I'm going to break it?
I mean, I wouldn't say like that, but I really didn't have anything to really live for at that moment, like before my kids came around. So I was taking all type of chances. And luckily, they didn't turn to anything tragic. And like even when I think about certain things that I did or been through, like it kind of it makes me cringe a little bit because it's like I was that naive to like, take these chances. But like once I had my kids, it gave me a purpose to be intentional and to, you know, make sure that I make it home every day and make sure I'm not putting myself in these predicaments to where they'll feel how I felt sometimes as a kid.
Okay. So when it's a lot of young boys, oh, I just want a baby. I just want a baby. Do you feel like they want a baby so they can have something to look forward to, or they can have something to believe in them?
I believe that could be possible. I would definitely not recommend that.
Because everybody won't seem like they want a baby mama right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. But I do think that people are searching for love, and as a father, like, and I talked about this on one of my podcasts. It was
Mhm.
like the love I have for my daughter is like something I never felt before. Like the way we talk, like she called me every day.
How
Uh,
old is she?
she's 9,
Okay.
and like if I don't answer her phone call, she has an attitude, and like she can't really do no wrong. And I never felt that, and you know, and I was just saying on my platform, that I wish that people do feel that. Like I wish that daughters feel that, and I wish that fathers feel that as well. But if you're just having babies just to stick around or just to feel that, I don't think that it will fulfill you, because being a father is not always the prettiest thing. Being a parent is not always the prettiest thing. Like you'll see, the kids they parents is matching them in outfits and they taking pictures, like that's cool. But then outside of that, these are literally lives that you're responsible for.
Okay. Do you feel like having a daughter and building this relationship and working on your mental health, do you look at women differently? Do you date differently?
I do. I definitely look at women a lot different. I'm more appreciative of the women in my life, like my mother. Um,
So y'all have a better relationship once you kind of got hold of your mental health?
well, me and my mother always had a good relationship.
Hmm.
Um, but it made me appreciate, her more. And I think just being a parent in general, like, even I had a stepfather and we wasn't always on the best terms. And it wasn't until I got into a situation where I was a stepfather and I'm like, you didn't have to be that. You didn't have to do that, but you did it because, you loved my mom and you loved me as well. And that made me appreciate him more.
So you had an aha moment?
Yeah, I had to call him and apologize.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, that was real. Okay. That was a man of you to realize it.
Yeah, I definitely, I'm like, yo, I realized I put you through a lot of stuff and he didn't have to be there. He didn't have to deal with a lot of that. And our relationship wasn't perfect, but I was able to come to a point where I was able to appreciate who he was in my life.
Okay. All right. So you have a girl and 2 boys?
Yeah.
Okay. How's your relationship with your boys?
My boys, I love my boys. And I enjoy just giving them game. I enjoy raising them. I enjoy spending time with them. I enjoy doing boy stuff with them. And with them, I can say I'm a little biased, because with the boys, like, I'm a little harder on them than I am my daughter. Um, but I think that that's for good reason. Because out here, and especially with me being a male and just knowing that's what's out here and all the influence that's out here and how somebody, especially young men, can just easily just go off and, you know, either
Now,
get killed or be in jail
okay,
is
what were one of your influences to when you did negative? Give me a negative influencer on your life that you like, yeah, I'm gonna go this way.
um like as a kid, like we didn't really have a lot of money. And, I had the basic stuff that I needed, but the things that I wanted, I really didn't have. So I always was trying to figure out how to get some money. And then, I tried, doing work around the church and different things like that. And that was cool, but at like $75 every 2 weeks ain't really working it.
Hmm.
So I got introduced into selling drugs, and that was a negative influence. And that was, and like I was looking for how to make money, and I also was looking for love and like a family environment. And like, even though we was doing wrong, like the group that I was with, we all was going through the same thing. So we was kind of able to depend on each other.
So that's what kind of attracted you. And I think that's what we may differ at our age to know that the gangs are attractive because they become a second family. Y'all become each other's daddies.
Yeah,
Is that about right?
absolutely. You become each other daddies, each other brothers, and everything, like each other family. And like a lot of households that these young men and women grow up in is traumatic.
Okay.
And so they have to leave home in order to, feel some type of love.
So how can we fix it? How can we actually be able to connect with your generation? Because honestly, when we talk to each other, your generation is soft to us.
Hmm.
It's like y'all can't take nothing. Everything is, oh my God, oh my goodness. Everything is,
I think that's the generation after me.
you think so?
I think it's the social media. Like, when we was kids, we was still outside, we was still riding bikes, we was still,
Hmm.
playing sports and different things. But with the kids nowadays, like my younger brother and younger sister, like they whole life is social media. And
Okay.
like social media has it creates its own mental issues for people and different things, like because everybody seems so perfect on social media. So if you don't feel perfect, that can create, what's the word I'm looking for? That can create I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, but it can create you not feeling good about yourself
Who you
because you're
are.
judging it off of other people who's only posting, the good things that's going on in their life.
Okay. Because right now, my daughter, 8 suicides in our school district already this year. 8. That's a lot of kids to commit suicide.
Absolutely.
So right now, all of us, the parents, everybody is looking for something to assist because not only is everybody else going, we are also maybe going through something
Yeah.
in the process. So that's why I say, tell me something that can help us connect or be closer to our kids or be kind of closer to the community to assist each other.
I think just the most important thing that I can think of is, just creating a safe environment that, your kids or whoever can feel comfortable in letting you know, like, this is what I'm going through, this is what I'm feeling, and them not being judged. And, as a kid with my mother, like, she was super religious. So like anything that I was going through or that I was trying to figure out, it was always the Bible thing. And it wasn't until I really had a conversation with her, I'm like, yo, let's leave church out of it. Like, I'm really like having an experience. I don't know what's going on, and I just need you to be my mother. And from that point on, we was able to develop a real relationship, more so than just go pray.
Okay. All right. Now, when you were out there hustling, and what made you say, okay, now I'm getting older, I'm getting more mature. I need to leave this alone and maybe switch over the list because I can be successful, but not necessarily with the quick money.
Um, I really don't. I really don't know what it was. I think I just had enough, and like I was still young. Like I was like 7, like when I quit, and I immediately started working after that.
Okay. So you
Um,
was one of the lucky ones to say, okay, I'm gonna go to work. What made you say you're gonna go to work?
I think I was just tired of. I was tired of looking over my back, and then I was also tired of like letting my grandmother down. Like it was one night where, because of course when all of this, I was doing this, I ran away from home.
Okay.
And it was one night my grandmother and my mother had came to the block that I was on, and they was like, Devin, just come home. And me being rebellious, I'm like, nah, I'm good. And this dude came up and asked me for drugs because he knew I had it. And my mother, like, I had an episode where I talked to her and she brought that up, and she was like, how hurt that made her feel. But I remember the look on my grandmother's face, like, damn, like I raised you better than this. And like, it was just like a lot of disappointment. Like that always
Oh, she
stuck with
saw
me.
you serve him?
No, she saw the dude come up to me. I wasn't going to serve him in front of her, but
Right.
she saw him come up to me because he knew that's normally what I do. But I
Right.
kind of pushed him to the side. But like when I came back to her, like the look on her face, like I never forget it. And I've never seen that before from her. Like she always when she talk about me, she will always say that I was her heart. And I could tell that day, like, I broke her heart.
Oh, y'all was made me cry over here. Wanda, that was okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Because right now it is a lot. When I say a lot, it's a lot of boys. You live in a lot of boys' story.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we need to save our boys. But nobody knows how to save them. And a lot of them understand with the self medication of the popping the pills and the smoking of the blunts, that's anxiety. That most of them in the average neighborhood has PTSD. Their best friend
Absolutely.
was killed. They done shot and killed somebody. They're in the household, just their mothers. They don't have anything. They can't go to school because social media done made them think that if they don't have on a pair of $150 jeans, that they're not worthy.
Absolutely.
I need to know how to fix it because I see it every single day.
Yeah, I don't know if I know how to fix it, but I identify that as well. Like, a lot of these young people, not just men, but women and men, they growing up in dysfunctional households.
Okay.
And even in the area, like in these hoods, like it's it's super traumatic. Like,
Name something that you would consider super traumatic in a neighborhood that an average young male is going through. That's going in his mind. That's going to make him that angry man growing up.
losing a friend. Like a lot of these dudes in these hoods, they seeing death at an early age, and they seeing so much of it. And seeing death that early on and seeing it in abundance is not normal. And a lot of these dudes don't know that because this is all that they know. So when they see their friends die, when they see family members getting killed, those are traumatic things. Like, and that can invoke, different emotions. And they may not have the tools to deal with that. So they may go out and be like, yo, I got to get revenge, or I got to, keep a gun on me because the neighborhood that I'm living in, it can be me next time. And that creates, like, a spiral effect in these communities. So yeah, I think that that's the number one thing. It's just like with so much murder and death that's going on in Chicago, like a lot of people don't understand, like, this is not normal. And I didn't really understand that until, I was able to move downtown. And like now, I stay in Oak Park, but I noticed like a lot of difference. Like even the way the police monitor downtown is way different from how they monitor the hood. You know, e-
How? What's the difference?
it's not over. They come when they're needed, but they're not coming and just stopping you on your block. Like if you are in the area, you living down there, like it's not a lot of crime that goes on unless it's like, people coming in to that community.
Okay, so when you're in different neighborhoods, inner city, you see the police all day long, so it become a negative effect to you to see the police.
Yeah, and it's already a bad relationship between especially the black community and policing,
Why is that?
because the police, I don't want to curse. I can't curse.
Okay,
But
you
yeah,
got
the police has, like, just throughout history, like the police has never been to serve and protect. Like it's always been like even I remember even when I was a kid and like the first time that I got stopped, and like it was me and one of my friends, and we're coming back from the park, and we're just minding our business, and the police stops us, and he's like, "Get on the car." And we ain't even do nothing. We just walking. He's like, "Get on the car," and he was like, "What the f is you and your little girlfriend doing walking around?" And we like, "What? We live in this neighborhood." But like, that's my first interaction with the police.
And what age were you?
Probably was like 12,
Okay.
and like, yeah, that's my first interaction. So from then, that leaves, a nasty taste in my mouth towards the police.
Hmm.
And then with me seeing everything that's been going on, especially with social media, or seeing just how, my mother got stopped, and seeing how they treated her, like, yeah, of course, that's going to create distrust within that. And this has been going on since forever. So Did I answer the question? Because
Yeah.
okay,
Okay, you answer it because sometimes it's a catch-22 with us. Sometimes we don't like the police because what we're doing,
yeah, absolutely.
you know, because now that you're older, now you was living downtown. Do you have a different view of the police?
Somewhat, but not all the way, because I still see what's going on.
Do you
And
trust the police? Some police.
no, like okay. So I say this. So like even with me now, like I live in Oak Park,
Yes.
and I'm more worried about getting shot in Oak Park, being a black man, than I was doing that in the city,
Why is that?
because I stand out, and
Do you feel like you stand out at Oak Park? It's kind
I
of.
do.
Do you?
Yeah, especially at night. Like I see people when I'm walking my dog crossing the street, or I see the police the way they look at me when I'm just minding my business. I may be going to the gym or whatever. Um, I see them do those type of things, and that kind of gives me anxiety.
Okay. So that bothers you. So you walking your dog and you still have people cross the street on you?
Yeah.
Now, you being older, more mature, if the police, have you ever stopped the police and say, what do you see when you see me? Or,
No, I've never had a real conversation. No, there was a police officer that stayed in my building when I lived downtown, and he was cool, but we never really talked. It was just high and by. But I never had a real one-on-one conversation with the police unless I was being stopped.
in your lifetime, you say you're 31. How many times have you been stopped by the police? Over 10,
Definitely,
20,
definitely.
30. Now,
I, w-
remember,
I
you
was
did sell drugs now, so you're going to
Yeah.
get
So
stopped
I'm not.
anyway.
So I'm not even. I'm not. I'm talking about just me as an older. Just me being older, and me not even like that was when I was a teen. But since I became a man, yeah, it's I would probably say 30, 30 plus.
Really? So somebody that look like you, that means that's some of your anxiety just being out here in this world, just trying to be black.
Yeah, because it was like you know I've been working since I was 17, nonstop. I have not stopped working since I was 17. And so I haven't been in the streets. I wasn't banging. I was trying to get my money the legal way, take care of my family. Um, and it was like on two folds because it's like, I'm working, so the police stopping me. But then also I'm worried about these dudes in this area, you know, um, either mistaken identity or, people shooting, they don't have no aim. So it kind of gave me anxiety on like both ends of it.
So it's a catch 22. You
Absolutely.
got it both ways.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you do now to make yourself more comfortable? Because you got to walk your dog. You have to go to work. What do you do? Do you speak to people? Do you, hey, I'm not going to hurt you? What do you do to make yourself feel comfortable? And do you try to make other people feel comfortable?
Yeah, I actually talked about this too. Because and this is something I've been talking to about with my therapist, because it's like, why do I feel the need to make somebody feel comfortable, especially when I know that I'm not doing anything but just existing. And
I
it's
think
like,
we all do that.
yeah,
Okay.
and it's like, I'll see, say at night I see a older lady walking, and I make sure that I'm as non-threatening as possible.
How do you be non-threatening to somebody else?
It's like my hands out, like I'll be on my phone or I'll be talking on my phone, and let's say like they're walking in front of me, I slow my pace down, and it was just natural. And I still don't know exactly why, and I'm pretty sure that it's like some inherited from like the things that I've seen or just the way that I grew up. Like one of the things that my therapist, well, I had brought up with her, and she was asking me like, tell me about like your grandmother who raised you. And I'm like, my grandmother was from Shaw, Mississippi, and she used to tell us these stories. Like, she was a sharecropper, and they used to have to walk miles to get to, and she used to tell me like, when a white person would come or come past, they would give them the sidewalk and step in the dirt. And if they didn't, they would be worried that something would happen to them. And I'm like, maybe that's, something that's logged in the back of my brain. And that's why, that's why I feel those type of ways.
So I wonder, because men don't talk about, like I said,
Hmm.
anxiety and stress, especially black men, I notice really don't talk.
Right.
So you're saying, I know you can't speak for everybody, but do you think that the average black man, when he's out here in different places, or he see the police, or he's around other ethnicities, that goes through his mind as well?
Yeah, I can almost 100% guarantee. And I think with a lot of like when I mentioned earlier about not showing emotions and the things that boys are taught, that those boys turn into grown men, and they still carry those things with them. So I think that a lot of men don't know how to express themselves, or maybe don't even feel comfortable, or don't have nobody that they feel that they can express it to and it be safe.
Yeah, because I have a friend that sometimes they may show emotion, and I'd be like, "What are you crying? Why are you showing emotion?" Because we don't allow y'all to be. We don't let you be yourself.
Yeah.
So how do I let you be yourself? I don't know how to let you be yourself, because we just as chauvinistic, I think,
Hmm.
as what we think a man is supposed to be. So do you think women, black women, all women, are we too hard on you to
I,
allow you to be you?
I want to say that women are too hard, because I think that there has to be accountability with men, and women are the ones that will hold you accountable to be who you say that you are, or to be who they believe that you are. I think the mix up may come with their understanding of what a man is. And, and sometimes that can be toxic, and you know, that can make a man feel less of a man, especially if he's not able to, you know, um, express himself.
So to help with your anxiety, what can we do to assist a man? Because like all these balled up feelings you say you're just starting to actually let go of, what can we do to assist that, to actually let this be a conversation? So when I say I'm feeling anxiety and you say you're feeling it, everybody can work on
Yeah.
what everybody's feeling rather than one person, because women, we're very vocal.
Hmm.
So, oh, here she go talking again, oh, I gotta hear this again. But we let ours out.
Right.
We're gonna figure out a way how to let ours out. If we cursing, screaming, crying, praying,
Yeah.
but I look at a man and he's just sitting there looking. What's wrong?
I think from my personal experience, I think with relationships between men and women, like there may be times where a man feel comfortable expressing himself, especially to a woman that he care about and love, like, expressing things to them. Where I think that men get triggered is when those things that they express, um, the things that they express turns into, uh, they turn into things when you all are into it. So let's say
So if you told me something and I said, oh, he about to go start crying and stuff, oh, because you felt bad when you was
because your
little.
daddy wasn't there, you were like, yeah, like, and then,
Okay.
and like, I mean, I've had that happen, and like, makes a man like shut down and be like, I ain't telling nobody nothing. Like, and I'm just going to deal with my feelings and however I deal with it. And
So don't throw, let's know. So you let us know as women or anybody in a relationship, don't throw the mud at you off something personal that we know hurt you.
yeah, like if a man feels comfortable enough to let you know what's going on with him, and to let you know like his deepest feelings or his dreams, or even if it's like, past trauma, I think weaponizing that, you know at your will. So let's say you angry or whatever, it definitely makes that man not want to express himself.
Okay. Men do it too now. You know that, right?
I no, I would guess that men do it too.
Okay. You done did it now. You probably done let it out too before.
I wouldn't say that I haven't. I just can't think of an
Anything
example.
right now?
Yeah.
Okay. The thing with this whole conversation, the biggest thing that have shocked me just talking to you is the fact that you said you picked a place to move. But the fact when you go outside or walk your dog, you feel like at any time, because Oak Park is pretty nice. At any time, you feel like the fact of your race, you could die faster in Oak Park because of somebody mistaking you for something that you're not
By the hands of the police.
by the hands of the police.
Hmm.
And that stresses you every day. That's a lot of weight and stress to be on you.
Yeah, and and I can only imagine somebody, because like I said, I'm going through therapy. I do things every day to try to make sure that I'm okay.
Right.
And somebody that doesn't have those healthy things. So a man that deals with that every day but doesn't have those healthy things in their life, I can only imagine, like, the pain that they go through on a daily basis. And it's kind of like what I mentioned earlier, like I didn't feel comfortable in the hood. Like in the hood, I had anxiety. Like every time I left my door, I'm like, gotta look around, gotta make sure the coast is clear, gotta look up the street. Who is that? He cool. Dude over there moving funny. Okay, keep an eye on him. And it's the same anxiety, but it's just different situations.
So where do you feel safe at? Did you feel safe downtown?
Um, More so, I felt safer downtown than I did when I was in the hood and living in Oak Park. But it still was like, and because you can't get caught slipping anywhere. Like any situation can happen anywhere. So people get shot downtown, people get shot wherever.
And that's when I say, when I mention like the youngin or a different generation, we don't think like that. We don't. And our mindset is now, right now, I do tell people, hey, it's Christmas time coming. Be mindful, check your car, lock your door, put your purse around you, put your purse in the car first, different things. But my mindset is don't get caught slipping,
Right.
because that's you got to be hyper vigilant too much. That's tiring on your mindset to feel like from the time I wake up that I'm not safe till I go to bed. That's a lot on me every day, all day.
Yeah. And like I had a conversation recently with one of my neighbors and we was outside just talking. And I didn't even know I was doing this, but they're like, yo, why you keep looking around? I'm like, I didn't even know I was doing it, but it was something I developed in order to survive. So I have to scope the whole thing. So even if I'm just sitting outside, I have to know what's going on all around me. And they were white and they lived in a suburb all their life. So they just out there without a care. And I was like, damn, like I never knew how that felt to just be out and not have to, look over my back or just watch out. And when he told me that, I started to notice that more. And it's like, yeah, it is exhausting. But it's a survival skill.
Okay. Is there something else you want to add as to some of the things that you do that had caused some of this anxiety? Do you feel like you caused some of your anxiety as to some of the things that you did in your life? Now, I know being black, you can't help that. You wake up, you're going to go to bed with that.
Hmm.
Um, I had a conversation with a close friend of mine, and she's Jewish, and we kind of go back and forth sometimes. We talk about race, and I mentioned it's okay because you can hide the fact you're Jewish. I can never hide the fact I'm black.
Right.
So I do experience what you experience. And like you said, sometimes you try not to look threatening, whatever that means.
Right.
Hi, you speak, you make eye contact. If I am walking behind somebody, I do go walk on the side. I go get in front of you.
Hmm.
I'm paying attention to you.
Right.
My head is on a swivel, but not that same swivel of that. It's just like, oh, okay, let me just look at my surroundings.
Right.
And where I live, people had their purses out. She on the register in the line, and her purse is behind her. And I said, excuse me, you really, really should. That is not a good look to have your purse right there. Please get your purse up and have it with you.
Right.
And she said, oh my goodness, thank you so much. Right now, I want to be a better person. I
Hmm.
don't want to think like that. And I will hope she didn't of me, but I don't know. But I will tell anybody, hey, get your purse up.
Right.
Somebody could get you. Somebody could take it. It's Christmas time.
Absolutely.
So I do understand that, but not to the degree of every day you get up, you think that you can possibly die by the hands of first in the neighborhood, by somebody that look like you move out to a better neighborhood, and then it switches from your peers to the police.
Hmm.
That's deep.
It is. And it's not a constant feeling. But when it happens, like when I'm walking and I'm minding my business, I'm okay. Like I'm not worried about anything, but it's those subtle things that happen. Somebody see me across the street, or the police roll past and they looking crazy. Like, and that's when it creates like the anxiety. And the anxiety part of it is that with me, it doesn't just stop right there. I continuously think about this and replay this in my head continuously, like
until you get in the house.
even when I'm in the house. And that's it has been less like with therapy and different things like that. But I have certain things that I do to try to control that. But before then, it would be situations like, you know, being involved in like shots rang out. Like I would constantly like play those things in my head for years. And I never knew what that was. I just knew that that was something that would happen. And I knew how I felt doing that, or, you know, and I didn't really have the outlet to really express that. And I think a lot of people deal with that.
Do you feel bad at the fact you feel like you had to leave a neighborhood of people that look like you? Did you feel like you sold out? Do you feel like, wow, I can't even be right here and really truly be comfortable?
No, because I have to do what's best for me and my kids. And I feel like us moving to where I feel it's like a safer environment and more opportunities for my kids would help them in the long run. So I don't feel bad because I have a family, I have kids, I have boys, I have a daughter that I have to look out for. And I would do anything to make sure that I'm around for them and that, you know, that they grow up in a safe environment.
Okay. All right, that's fair. That makes sense. Do your daughter ever talk to you about anxiety and stress? That you can talk to her and say, "Hey, this is how I feel," to open that line of communication up.
We haven't talked about anxiety or stress, but everything that I introduce myself to, I also introduce them to.
So they do yoga.
They do. We did yoga last week, but we do meditation. Like I created a meditation like for them that's on YouTube. So like even when they're with their mom, that they can go to it, and you know if they're feeling stressed or if they're feeling down, like they can just go and do these breathing exercises.
Okay, name again for the audience some of the things that you can do to help you with your stress. Because honestly, anxiety, mental health, PTSD does not have an age or
hmm
ethnicity to it. So name some of the things again that you said that you do.
I mean, number one is talking about it and like finding a safe space or people that you trust that you can let them know what's going on in your head and how you feeling. The next thing is just, adding, things that make you happy and healthier things into your life. For me, it's reading. For me
What are you
is
reading?
right now I'm reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, but I read a lot of books. I read a lot of books by Black authors.
Okay.
But right now I'm finishing up Rich Dad Poor Dad.
And that helps you to escape and go somewhere else. And when you finish, you've elevated yourself. Do you feel?
Yeah, and more so it relaxes me.
Okay.
So yeah, so like the reading, the meditation, the yoga, and going to therapy are the things that I've incorporated to help me.
Okay. All right. If you had any questions for this young man, 708-223-8953 in regards to it. It's right now. Let me check with my engineer because right now I don't have a clock in front of me. How many? It's about time. Okay. So right now, once again, you say for stress and anxiety, I would love to have you back. I'm trying to get some older men here because this is something that I always felt like, do men talk?
We
Do they
don't.
talk about me? You say you do not talk.
We don't.
Okay. I want to have you back on the show in regards to mental health and talk about it. I want to get a few more men of different ages so we can discuss it because this is something very important for all of us. But somebody that look like me, that's the opposite sex of me, that I can actually talk to because it'd be a lot of miscommunication.
Absolutely.
So once again, thank you. I would like to thank my special guest, Devin, for coming out, talking about mental health right now on intellectualradio.com on the Women of Wealth show. See you soon. Bye-bye.